maybe the important part to hear twice and multiple times is that you're worth it. You're worth taking the time for yourself. You're worth taking the time to invest in your health and your energy and your stress levels. So it not only makes you feel better, but it allows you to be the person that you want to be with the people that you love most. And that is a big reason why I started this journey. I didn't love who I was being around the people that I loved most. I wasn't showing up for them the way that I wanted to. So I tell mamas, if you're not willing to do this for you, do this for your family, do this for your kids, you know?
Yeah. And I love that because a lot of our moms in here can resonate with maybe right now I don't feel like I can do it for me. Like that's just not where my come from is in this moment. I want to get there, but right in this moment, first, I'm going to start with for my kids or my family. And then in time, I'll get there on my path, but it's just starting somewhere. So that
Exactly.
was beautiful, beautiful message. Thank you for
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you're saying like this might not be the moment to just start. So many people are like, I've got to find the motivation and then I'll get started. And time again, the theme has come up of like, you have to just start and then the motivation will follow. So if you're waiting for motivation, it won't ever come.
that.
You just have to decide that you're going to take action. Eventually, the motivation will come with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're talking in an anxiety group right now. So that is, I mean, starting the hardest part, and it's all just wrapped around what we make it mean and what we think about it. So, action, action, action.
Yeah.
The cure for procrastination, for anxiety, a lot of these things is just getting into your body and doing.
Yeah.
So, with that, everybody in here got a chance to vote on some questions. We'll jump into those, but I do want to give you the opportunity if you want to talk a little bit more about what brought you into supporting working moms in this way. If there, and some of us, like, there was just this aha moment, and others, it's like years and years of, oh my gosh, like, I want to support other people. So what was it for you looking back and where you are now that this is why this is your specialty, this is why you're here?
Yeah. It probably was a long road for me with not a lot of, with not like a one pivotal moment, I think. And I spent like 20 years in the corporate world. I was doing analytics and data and numbers and always supporting other people. Um, and I wanted to be closer to the impact that we were having as a business. Always. I've always looked to be like closer to the impact, wanting to see the direct impact, the direct result of whatever I do. It could be like mopping my floors, it could be the work that I did at work. Like I like seeing direct impact. I like seeing very tangible impact.
Mhm.
Um, and I was at a point in my career where I was very successful. I was good at what I was doing, but it didn't feel like the right spot to be in. I just felt like I was doing it because that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to get a good paying job and I was supposed to have a family and I was supposed to be able to balance them both while maintaining my health and my figure and my energy and all the pieces. And I felt maybe like I was drowning, like I just wasn't doing it all, right? I was like going through the motions. I felt like a zombie living my life. And I didn't like my own body. And so my journey from a health perspective started with the physical aspect of it of like, I don't like how I feel in my body. I don't like how I look in my body. And that affected like my confidence. It affected my energy levels. It affected how I engaged with my kids. And I didn't want that anymore. And so I started on this journey of self healing and nurturing and health, um, to get to sort of a better place. And that led me to coaching and this amazing community of supportive women who were doing amazing things and oftentimes struggling with the same things that I was struggling with. And so I think my journey has taken me to energy because it's still a piece I struggle with. And maybe that's the dirty little secret. Like, I don't have all the answers. I know all the things that they tell us to do. And I think for me, the biggest challenge is like, well, how do you make that a reality then? And with support and accountability and somebody else holding space for you to say, like, yeah, you can do it and you deserve it, that just like that lights up my world. And so that's why I do what I do, because the changes that I have made and the improvement I've seen in my own energy levels when I can get my shit together, right? Wouldn't have been possible without the amazing women and amazing coaches that supported me in my journey. And so I want to be able to do that for others as well, because we all have that within us to do.
Okay, so this was a question I was gonna ask you later on, but you just like laid this foundation so well. It's like you foresaw again. This is why I love talking to you. It's like you know all the pieces. For the mom, the working mom, whether they're a first time mom or they're a third time mom, how important, like 1 out of 10, would you say the day to day community is in being a mom? How important is that aspect? Like 1 out of 10 community.
10,
Solid
10,
10.
11.
Hard
Can I say
10.
11,
11,
12?
12, 15, 16,
Yeah.
17.
I mean, multiple times a day, I say to people, like, and this is why they say it takes a village. Like you can't do it alone. It is, you just can't. It's isolating and lonely to do it alone. And I think that's where it also can drive a lot of like anxiety and fear to do it alone, because you think you're the only one experiencing X, right? Whether it's the tantrums, whether it's the not sleeping at night, whether it's kids talking back to you. We're in a phase where I'm bruh or lady,
Mm.
right? Like it doesn't feel good. And it's like, well, what did I do wrong? I have poured my life and my heart and soul into these children. Why am I bruh? But the reality is that like this is the developmentally normal stage that kids go through. And I wouldn't know that if I didn't have my community of moms that I was talking to. So yeah, 100%. You can't do it alone.
Yeah, I love the spider web of like the self isolation, the very real loneliness that is loneliness, but we're all experiencing. So, can we experience it together in community? Absolutely, we can. Absolutely, we're all having these feelings. Um, and like you said, it's so different now from when a lot of us grew up and you just played in the neighborhood and the neighbors just came out and you were able to even, hey, like our parents, our grandparents, hey, I'm running to the drugstore. You got eyes on Johnny? And it's just like they're just gone. And that
Yeah.
was it. The village was the neighborhood.
Mhm.
So we're in a very different family system now where we're a little bit more spread out than we were when we were younger. And it's just a whole different set of standards for moms. And something that you
Yes.
brought up earlier was I should be doing this, and this is kind of you were getting at this is like the mom's role to do this, and spinning all the plates. And because it's an expectation, now this is just mom's duty, and we're not even giving ourselves credit for the 19 plates that we're spinning on our fingers because everyone else is just saying that's just what moms do.
Yeah.
And that just dives right back into, oh my goodness, who can you even share that with? That's like, and like, I'm curious, and this is really me asking, if you met a bunch of moms you've never met before at a coffee shop, I don't know, and maybe it's because everybody's so tired, you actually just blurt more out and you're not even worried about what other people think, but like, you don't just meet people and that just comes up and you can just talk about that. Like, I imagine there's still those levels of like I don't want to admit to that, like almost like mom strength and like trying to be like the tough mom because she looks great and she's like, can you speak to that? Is that easy? Is that difficult?
It depends. It depends. It depends. I think when my kids were really young and I was meeting up with new moms, it was exactly like all cards on the table. Like we're
Mm.
exhausted. We have no idea what we're doing. And we just want to know that we're not alone in this.
Mhm.
I think in other settings, right, you do sort of feel like you need to put on a persona. You feel like you need to look like you've got it all together. But it's so interesting how it just takes one mom to make one vulnerable comment, and they're like, oh my gosh, thank God, me too.
Mhm.
Right. And so then it sort of unfolds that way. And so it just takes a little bit of vulnerability.
Mhm.
Um, and just one brave mom to be like, I am struggling with this. Is anyone else?
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, you get more than one hand raise.
Yeah. And
So
I can
it's,
imagine just that connection, that feeling, like we're on here talking about energy.
yeah,
Just that connection, even if you are exhausted, you're like, I haven't slept in months, just gives you that zap that you needed, whatever needs to get done, whatever, until you can get home and take a nap, or you can get them down for a nap. That piece that isn't quite so physical, there's this whole other side that comes right back to community and
yeah.
reaching for support.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a weight has been lifted, right? You're carrying around this heavy baggage. And I know we're going to talk about like physical energy versus like emotional energy and stress and how that plays a role. But like this baggage that we carry around with us that says, like, we don't think we're doing it all right, or we don't think we're doing it all perfectly, or somebody's going to see through the crack that I don't quite have it all together. Like, that is a heavy load for moms to bear. And that in and of itself is energy draining. Right? I think if you are eating well and drinking water and getting enough sleep and you're still exhausted, there's a good opportunity to look within
Mm.
and say, like, what are the stressors that I'm carrying? What's the baggage that I'm carrying that's holding me down? What is the anxiety that I am letting like strangle my energy? Because it is not always necessarily just the physical manifestation of
Mm.
energy. It is oftentimes the emotional part of it. And you can feel it when you have that conversation. You're like, I'm not alone. Somebody else is struggling with the same thing I am. And you're not happy for them, right? It's not like, oh, so glad she's struggling with this too. But it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone.
Mhm.
And man, that feels good.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe this is just part of motherhood and people aren't talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mean, I certainly grew up in a generation where like this stuff was not discussed and talked about. And so, you know, my generation of moms is the first where we're expected to be amazing moms and amazing wives and have a full career and be able to do it all and juggle it
Mhm.
all and not need to have a support system for it because there's a lot more mobility with our generation, right? You like move across the country for a job or, um, you know, for whatever the reason. And so you're now like separated from that community that for generations was localized.
I'm so glad you brought that up because in so many ways, I think we think, well, my mom did this, my mom's mom did this. Like, why is this so hard for me? They made it look so easy, or they never complained. Number one, they weren't allowed to. They were just taught to shove it down. But number two, actually, a lot of generations are going through this for the first time where they are expected to work or expected to have a way more responsibility and still be the complete nurture caretaker mom in every single way and more.
Yeah.
And on top of that, and this is just a whole nother thing, but now we have this coping mechanism at our fingertips in the form of multiple devices, not just a cell phone, that can be the best thing in the world and also our worst enemy. So
Yeah.
just to sum up, no, nobody has ever done this before, actually.
Yeah, no.
So giving ourselves that credit where credit is due. And something, how do you, because you mentioned this, and I think the last thing in the world that moms need piled on is someone telling them, are you drinking? And are you exercising? And are you making sure you're peeing? And blah, blah, blah. And I know from knowing you, how is your approach taking that into consideration? And you started talking about that instead of like Oh, great. I'm working with Coach Kristine or someone who's like just giving me so much more to do. I know that's where you come in and this is different. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Um, sometimes people need a little bit of guidance. Like, I don't really know. There's so much information out there. I don't know what to do. Right. Um, but sometimes, and most times, I would say people really already know what they're supposed to be doing or what they want to be doing. They know what their experience is that they want to have. And so I try to start there with my clients to say, like, well, what do you want to be experiencing right now? What do you want to have? What does that look like? What does that feel like? And then help them tune into their bodies to figure out, like, what is their body telling them? And I actually talked about this a little bit this week in my Facebook group, but like just slowing down to listen to what our bodies are having to tell us, whether it's around food or exercise or rest or even activities. Um, and so I try to help moms tune into like what is their body telling them? And what are the things that are getting in the way, right? Like maybe they do want to be going to bed earlier every night and they're just struggling with like how to get that done. They always seem to be like getting in their own way. Um, and so we sort of figure that out and dig deeper into that because it doesn't help to give like a list of tools and be like, okay, go.
Mhm.
It's like, well, I've read all these things on the internet before. Like, I don't know what I'm not doing right. Like, why isn't it sticking? And so that's what we get to explore a lot of times. And it's oftentimes the first time my clients have stopped to listen to what their bodies are telling them. And that makes it such a powerful experience. And I've done this with sleeping. We've done this with exercise is a big one. Like, oh, well, I think I need to do like cardio 4 days a week.
Mm,
Why?
right.
Who said?
Yep.
Right? Like, what is your body telling you that it needs, right? Like, I want to be stronger. Great. That's a great goal. Like, we can move towards that. But let's figure out how that works, like within your lifestyle, with the things that you enjoy doing. Um, I'm a big proponent of finding things that people find joy in, right? Like anything that you are going to take on and want to stay committed to, you have to enjoy, right? And so let's find the exercises that you enjoy. Let's find the movement that you enjoy. How do we build onto that? Um, and so it's a lot of like internalized work. It's a lot of like looking within. It's not just tips and facts and this is what you've got to do. And I think that that helps women and moms feel really empowered because they came up with the solution themselves and they get to know themselves a little bit better in the process, which makes it easier for them to figure out the next thing.
Mhm. Yeah, so all the while you're actually helping them grow and develop some of the most important foundational tools that make all of this what you're teaching them actually very long lasting. And the very first thing that you said, not only, giving them, empowering them, giving them power, giving them, hey, you're the number one resource here, giving them all that power back, but you started with what is it you want? What is it you desire? And I know moms have really turned that dial down in their lives and probably haven't even been asked that. And that can be a whole nother thing that I've seen come up, whether it's working with somebody with anxiety or anything, is like, do you know what you want? Do you know what you desire? Because oftentimes most of us actually don't. And that is a completely open-ended question. So the fact that you are catering it so much to not here is my protocol, this is what we eat, this is what we drink, this is when we do it, but your whole vision is you within reach, you within
Yeah.
reach, right?
Yeah.
And I keep seeing that theme layering into every single piece that you're saying of, yes, there's the outer game, yes, there's the physical game, to energy, to all of it, but then there's this internal game that is constantly being paved through all of that greater work.
Yeah.
So I really love that.
Yeah. It's powerful stuff. And that's how you have lasting change. And I was definitely that mom who you could ask me what I wanted out of my life, what I wanted to eat for dinner, what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I wanted. about anything. I didn't have an opinion about myself. I could tell you what was best for my kids and my family and the dog and for work. I knew all of the answers to those questions. I had no idea what I really wanted. It took me a long time to figure that out.
I actually just saw, you know how when you're swiping through Instagram, I'm not saying this is legitimate, but I did just see a quick thing. It was just a quick quote, but it just said that um, be gracious, moms, with yourself and with any moms you know, because from the moment that you get pregnant to having your baby through the next couple years, your identity shifts so much. And the actual assimilation to the point where you're like, I am a mom, and your identity changes so much. It's like actually a 5-year span of not only
Wow.
the physical, hormonal, all the changes. And it kind of had all these little pinpoints along the way. But it said, even after you become a mom and your baby is now here, those next 2 to 3 years, as we know, when we go through any kind of transformational anything, it doesn't matter that everybody is just having babies and that's been since, the dawn of time that we know. It doesn't matter. It's a huge transformational event. So that 5 years, I don't think just because everything's so normalized, it's even, oh, like you've got 6 months or you just had your baby, and then it's kind of like, all right, well, it's so normalized. And then I read that and just thought, there's no way. Nobody has any idea. And if you've gone through it, but
Yeah.
otherwise, no.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is life altering in a way that you cannot really describe to other people. And it's very easy to get lost in the expectations of what motherhood is. And for generations and generations before us, that's what it was. Like even my friends and I have a mom friend that's a biology teacher, and other friends that are like in science. And so like we talk about this a lot. Like our physical biology was to like have babies young, stop having babies, raise our babies. Like that was meant to be our lives. Whereas men's biology is very different from that.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even the way that we are like genetically created, right? And this is not my expertise by any means, right? But like that's what we were, like have babies, raise babies. And that's what women did for generations and generations and generations. Um, and so, yeah, like we are also in this unique place where like we have all these other expectations on us. And so it just complicates this. Like, not only does your identity change, but your identity is changing at a time where people are like, but you can still have a career and you can still do all these other things. And what do you do for yourself? And you're like, well, wait a second, I'm figuring out motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
That is a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are
So,
you practicing
yeah,
self-care? Are you? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not sleeping and I can't tell you what day it is. Like,
Yeah. And that was like a badge of honor for a while, right? Like not getting through it, not complaining, not practicing any self-care or taking any time for yourself.
yeah.
Um, can you, do you mind if we go right to just to give us a little shift here of one way that you love to support your working moms in any kind of energy boost? Like one of the questions that we had was, what
Mm,
small changes can I make that would actually help boost energy naturally? Can you
yeah.
drop us one of those?
Yeah. Um, I mean, the one that I do most that I love is drinking a full glass of cold water first thing in the morning. I always start my day with cold water, or hot water. To be honest, I go both
I was
ways. In the winter,
gonna
it's like
ask you,
in the
okay.
winter, it's hot water with lemon.
Mhm.
That's sort of my like coffee tea equivalent because I don't do coffee and I don't do tea very often. Um, But even like throughout the day, like I notice like if I am cranky, if I am hungry, if I'm craving salty foods, if I am tired, I am oftentimes dehydrated. And so, yeah, a cold glass of water is really easy to do. The other thing that is really refreshing and will like boost your energy really quickly is like splashing cold water on your face.
Hmm. And I know that's a nervous system hack as well.
Yeah.
But that's interesting about the temperature. I've never heard cold water. I've heard the lemon with warm,
Yeah.
and maybe it's like lemon, warm, ginger, apple cider vinegar. I've heard
Oh,
that in the
yeah.
morning.
Yep. The apple
But
cider vinegar shots.
yeah.
I've never actually tried that, but I've heard it. I've been curious.
Hmm. Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I know it's really good for acid reflux.
Yeah.
That's a big one, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so thank you. So, and kind of going with the seasons, like again, what works with you? Cold water to the face, a
Yeah.
cold glass of water in the morning for a million different benefits.
Yeah.
Winter, spring. Um, okay, and jumping right in here, what is the difference between burnout and being tired?
Yeah. This is a good one. Um, because there's sort of like three stages of levels of exhaustion, right? There's tired, there's fatigued, and there's burnout, right? And so tired is just sort of like a temporary state, right? You need some sleep, you need some rest, but normally you can sort of get out of being tired pretty quickly, right? Like a good night's sleep, a nap on the couch, like a moment to sit and kind of collect yourself and rest, like, and then you can move on with your day. That's just sort of tired, right? And everyone experiences that. Fatigue tends to be like more persistent than that. Like it's more serious. It can affect your concentration and your ability to get things done. Um, Oftentimes, fatigue can be linked to like either health issues or like mental health. And not like mental health issues, but like stress, anxiety, depression, like those kinds of things can really leave us fatigued. And burnout is sort of like the last stop on that train, right? It is like complete and utter like shutdown of your physical and emotional systems. Right? You tend to um, not only be very tired, but very detached, um, either from your work, your typical activities, the people that you love and spend the most time with. You tend to not be able to get things done. Um, you can often spiral into like being very cynical or very negative. Um, and it often is very much like stress and like mentally induced. Like you're not going to reach burnout just by like not sleeping or not getting enough rest, right? It's like really a lot of other things that are compounded and are chronic, right? So like the repetitive lack of sleep, stress, anxiety over and over and over again, day in and day out, is gonna kind of like allow burnout to sneak up on you.
Hmm. And I like that visual of like, okay, at first you're tired and you're still not taking care of things, and it starts sloping upward of like, all right, next stop is fatigue.
Yeah,
You said it's tired, fatigue, burnout. And by the time you're getting to that burnout, you're really seeing a lot of these physical and emotional relationships start to go. And that's the point that we don't want to get to. So, what advice would
yeah,
you have to somebody that's maybe they don't catch themselves, because this is where I find is tough for people is they don't catch themselves when they're tired, maybe they don't catch themselves when they're fatigued, but now they're getting to burnout, they're about to enter burnout or they're in burnout. Where What advice would you give to somebody that's like, I've ridden that train way too many times, how can I interrupt it, what can I do? Are there any little tools for that?
yeah. I think noticing it is the first piece, right? And this is the first piece that I do with clients on any like with any issue or problem or challenge that they're trying to overcome is like, let's just notice. Let's just notice when it's happening, right? Let's notice when we're tuning out. Let's notice when we get invited to do something that we love doing and don't
Mm.
feel like doing it. You know, if we love, um, my son's super into basketball right now. So he always wants to play basketball outside. And I'll play pig, I'll play horse. I don't do one-on-one because he's almost as big as me. Um, But I love doing that. But if there ever became a time where I was like, no, I don't want to, I don't enjoy it, I don't want to be doing it, I don't want to be around him, like I'd be like, this, I'm noticing that this is weird, like this is not normal, this isn't typical. So I think just noticing will help people be like, ah, there's something going on.
Yeah.
And then as hard as it is for moms to do, and it's something that I am always actively practicing, like we've got to ask for help. And
Mm.
it doesn't have to be like, I'm reaching burnout and I need help, right? Like that might feel really overwhelming. One, to like even name it, right? Like naming burnout can feel scary, right? But it may be like, hey, I really need to take a nap this morning. Can you take the kids out of the house, right? Or like, I really can't make dinner tonight. Like, will you make dinner tonight? Right? Like what, like any of the little things. If somebody offers, like I've had friends be like, oh, do you want me to just take your kids to my house for the afternoon? Like, I've got some work to do. It'll entertain them in the backyard. I don't know how many times I've been like, no, 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 that's okay. I don't want to put you out. Like, I don't want to bother you. Um, like getting used to being like, yeah, that would be great. Thanks. I'd love a couple of hours to myself. Like, you got to start small and you got to practice. But asking for help is such a critical lifeline when we are like moving through fatigue and like on our way to burnout. Like it's just, we can't do it alone. It takes a village, not just for the emotional support, but for like the physical support and just like the tangible support of like not doing it alone. Um, so I think that's a big one. And I think when I have clients who are like, I can't do that, right? I'm supposed to be able to do it all on my own, right? Like this is my job. I'm the mom. I'm supposed to cook and clean and work and entertain the children and spend all my time with them. Um, I actually sort of flip it, and I approach it two ways with them. Like one is that like asking for help is a strength. And if you don't believe it, is it a strength and a skill that you would want to teach and model for your children?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I can flip the lens for moms and reframe something as like, is this a skill set or a behavior or a characteristic that you would want your children to have and embody? Well, yeah, of course. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. They're going to learn it by watching you. So if they see you struggle and not ask for help, they will come to learn. And this is not, I'm not shaming moms. I'm not putting moms down that don't do this. Like I oftentimes bear the brunt of the load by myself. I'm not always good at modeling this, but I try, I make the effort. And so this is just, we do the best that we can. We notice, we try to take tiny steps to like try it out, see how it goes, and build the muscle because it's not necessarily a muscle that we were taught as a child. And so in some ways we are really like parenting ourselves as we parent our kids, right? I wasn't taught to ask for help. I was taught to like do it on my own. We don't ask for help. And so I'm changing the script for my kids. And so, yeah, so even if it's like asking your kids for help, watching you ask another adult for help, even for the tiniest things, like, do you mind taking in a bag of groceries so I don't have to make two trips? Like little stuff, even if you don't need their help, asking for their help, right? Not only does it take some of the burden off of you, but man, when I ask my kids for help, they light up.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I'm a big kid. Mom needs my help. And so, like, yeah, like if you won't ask for help for yourself, do it for your kids because they're watching. And what an amazing gift that you could give your kids that they don't have to struggle alone when things get tough because they know that they can ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the third one I would say is just to rest, right? And rest might mean movie marathon one weekend so that you don't have to do anything with the kids, right? It might mean takeout on a night where you were like, oh, really needed, I wanted to cook, want my kids to have a healthy meal. Like, you're a good mom. You're feeding them. Like, doesn't matter if you're feeding them takeout, right? If it saves your sanity and gives you a little bit of time to rest, everyone still gets fed. You can cook another night, right? Um, So yeah, just resting. Or and I love to do this lately. My kids are 9 and 7, so like I'm past the toddler stage. And I'm sort of into the stage where I was like, oh, I thought I would be less tired by now. Um, but I will sometimes go to bed when my kids go to bed. And man, it feels really, really good. So did I do an extra 2 hours of like work or like my to-do list that night? No. But do I wake up feeling better the next day and more like alert and able to take on the tasks that maybe I didn't get to the night before? Yeah, I'm a lot more productive. And
Mhm.
so rest is another big one. Give yourself permission.
I'm just thinking about everything that you just went through that to some people might seem like, oh, yeah, yeah, I've heard that before, or like 101 foundational skills. But I'm thinking about how every single piece is something that we weren't taught how to do. It's said, it's spoken, it's out in the world, it's on the internet, but none of it, I can't even say, not only have we not mastered it, and by the way, that's a criteria that I always believe makes a good coach, and you've said it multiple times on here that you are still working on the thing that you support people with the most. When you mentioned that about the energy and all of this that energy entails, is when you can admit, yeah, this is something that I've gotten so great at and I'm still working on it. But I think about every single thing you just hit on, the need for skills in communication, in delegation, in relaxation, in even being able to say, oh my gosh, like, how do you even relax without going on your phone? Or sometimes watching TV can be, but sometimes watching TV is not. Um, all of these are actual life skills that we were never taught. And some of us are learning it for the first time. I'd say a lot of people, a lot of women are
Yeah.
learning it when they are first time moms because they're like, oh my gosh, everything that I kind of did to get by before is not serving me now. It's not working anymore. It's like now there's so much more at stake. And I have a little person watching everything that I do. And as they get older, to your point, I want to show them the path and I want to be completely present and there for them. So I just think about everything that you mentioned that somebody could say, it seems simple or I've heard it before, and you know when you've worked on yourself in these areas, I think Mandy said it, like rewiring our brains takes time and practice.
Yeah.
This is not something that is done in weeks. This is something that you start in a moment, a day, an hour, and all of this builds on itself. So I love that you built us like this bridge of even the power of noticing because, and you said this, you can't, that's crazy to think that somebody could just call out, oh, I'm on the verge of burnout. I think I need some assistance, please. But we can actually get to the point, as crazy as it sounds, that we can completely be noticing and aware of going, oh my gosh, I really am, I think I'm approaching burnout. And that is a skill. That might seem so darn small, but when you start doing this inner work, that is like the greatest feeling in the world of calling yourself out and going, I did that.
Yeah.
So I just love this. You built us a bridge. You really did, of all of these innate skills that are so essential, and you really hit on the most beautiful pieces of how you get to serve women and then who they in turn get to serve from learning this from you.
Yeah.
So thank you for all of that.
Yeah. No, it's my pleasure. This is like these are the parts that make me like really happy and really excited. And when moms start to see it and understand it and believe it, like that just, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my big why in all of this.
yeah. Um, take us out of autopilot. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to ask you what your favorite notices are. Like
Mm.
how you've seen, whether in yourself and your clients, the little signs that people can look for, and maybe even in the beginning of like, this is working. Like what are the first things that you kind of notice that are like, I feel like I'm headed in the right direction with
Yeah.
this stuff.
Mm. Yeah. So I think some of the pieces are or can be pretty immediate, right? When I work with clients around food for energy, we will often experiment with what works and what doesn't work. And within a week, people will notice like a change in their energy. And so we'll focus on like one meal at a time, one time of day at a time. Um, but by the end of the week, they can see pretty quickly, like, oh, my body doesn't respond well to X, but it responds really well to Y. And to see a shift in energy so quickly is really powerful for them because I think it also validates like all of those other diets, all of those other food like regimens, like none of that worked for me. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. You're a unique person with unique needs, and we just have to hone in on what that is. Um, Another place, I don't know, how many folks eat emotionally, right? Like I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm cranky, I'm name your emotion. Um, and so when I can teach clients to stop and notice before they pick up a piece of food, before they snack, to notice like how are they feeling? What is their body needing? Right? In the middle of a meal to stop and pause. Like how am I feeling in this moment? Am I actually really still hungry or is there food on my plate? Right? Like that is a big one for moms as well because we tend to like eat off of our kids' plate or we grew up during the clean plate club era. And so we just feel like gross and overstuffed at the end of a meal, and that makes us really tired. And so, like, even noticing, oh, I'm actually not really hungry, I'm thirsty, or I'm stressed. Like, I'm going to do this breathing exercise instead can have like a 180 on your energy because you're not going into that glycemic plunge of like blood sugar roller coaster, right? You're not like stuffing yourself and eating to the point where you are like feeling really tired. And so those are sort of two examples with food that have really quick
Mhm.
impact. I think the other thing that people start to notice is just like how they're reacting with their kids, right? Like this is sort of what I notice when I'm having a good day, if I've gotten enough sleep, if I got up and stretched, like I like to stretch in the morning. I feel like that really just like opens up things in my body. I feel really good. I've taken a minute for myself. Um, when I respond differently to my kids, when I all of a sudden have more patience for my kids,
Mm.
oh, it's working. Like things are coming together, right? And so like the response that I wanted was like, I don't want to be so tired and so cranky with my kids anymore. Like my kids are getting like the brunt of it because then it's like I'm too tired, right? And so like you've just got to like be quiet or do what I say or, just disappear. I'm tired. And that's not what I want. Like I'm obsessed with my children and I want to spend every waking moment with them. um but so like when I'm doing all the right things, right? I'm noticing how quickly like my patience like recalibrates, my presence recalibrates when I have the energy. That's another piece I start to notice a lot.
Mhm. And I love that all along the way of these seemingly small wins from the beginning, it's actually completely instilling the belief of, oh my gosh, like this is working. So now we're really tapping into something so much deeper in people with something that's tangible, physical, and such a small, gentle change on their body where it's not this big kahuna all at once. And now they start to believe that just by doing something small, something 1%, something easy, maybe it can be that easy. And maybe the narrative I've been telling myself all this time has been that it's hard or I can't or whatever it is unique to us. And so as you're guiding them through this, it's again that underlying work of something that we know to be true as coaches is really tackling some long-standing beliefs that we've been building and building on top of, not even seeing the base. So I love that there's always this probably more than dual fold to coaching
Yeah.
that you coach people through.
Yeah. I think people come for the answers, but they don't necessarily realize are the answers are all within themselves. And what they're really coming for is like the internal work, right? Like the self-validation, the empowerment, the belief that they can do it. Like those are the pieces. Like people don't go looking for that, but that's what they're needing most.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a coach gets to do that you don't get by, you know, reading the top 10 list of whatever problem you're trying to solve. Yeah.
And you actually answered all these questions beautifully, but one of the last ones was, how do I prevent my stress from affecting my kids? And I'll let you um, more directly answer it, but I think we
Yeah.
know the answer from what you were just saying.
Yeah. It is all the things that we've talked about um, that will help to alleviate stress and boost your energy are all things that are going to help prevent it from affecting your stress. Um, but there's a couple of things that I continue to put into practice in my world that I think helps on top of all of that, like just little tricks that you can try as you're working on a lot of this stuff. The first one I like to do, I call the pickup pause. I am usually like running like gangbusters to try to get my kids on time for school at the end of the day because I'm trying to get 5 other things finished so that I can shift gears. Um, and so I use this pickup pause then and in other moments of transition in my day to just take a moment to close my eyes, to take 3 deep breaths, and just reset my energy before I go get my kids so that I'm not taking whatever was stressing me out in the morning with me when I go get them. And so this can work at any time of day, right? It can work before you pick them up from daycare, before you pick them up from school. It can be like before you're going to put them down to bed. Like whenever there's a transition in your day or you're transitioning from something that was stressful into something that, involves your kids, like just pausing and breathing can help reset that energy, lower that stress level so that you're not bringing the stress of work into your relationship with your kids.
I
Um,
love that. It's a transition time for them and it becomes a transition time for you.
yeah, yeah. And you're just like regulating your nervous system, right? At like multiple points of the day whenever you really need it. And it doesn't take a long time to do. Uh, the second one that I practice a lot is like naming it, right? If I am stressed out, if I am tired, if I am frustrated about something, whether it has to do with them or not, I try to do it when it doesn't have to do with them, but sometimes I will name it when it has to do with them. But I will be like, Mama had a really stressful morning, and like this doesn't have anything to do with you, but I'm super stressed. So I'm gonna, either step away or I just need a few minutes, or can you guys go play quietly and I will come get you when I'm ready, right? Because, and I still have a hard time with this because my range of emotions, like the names of emotions that I know, it's probably I can count them on my fingers.
Mm.
I was working with my amazing friend Lisa, who is a parenting coach, and she sent me this wheel of emotions. Morgan, there are like 60 emotion names. Like the wheel of emotions and all the different emotions that we feel as humans is huge. But I never learned any of those. Right. And so teaching my kids and learning for myself, like, what am I actually feeling right now? What emotion is this that I'm sitting with? And then learning to name it is helping me, right? Sort of break that, like the stress from like whatever was causing that emotion and having that bleed into my kids, but also teaching them like how to name their emotions, right? Like I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm nervous, I'm jealous. Like so powerful to be able to name it. And so that is another sort of like break for our nervous system to be able to like name it and acknowledge it, that it allows it to be like, okay, I've been heard. Maybe she's not dealing with me right away, but I've been heard. And then it allows me to sort of like put that stress behind so I can move on with my kids. Um, and the last one is my 3-second rule. Um, so I grew up with a 5-second rule, and that really had to do with food on the floor. But my 3-second rule, which I am actively practicing, and I can't say that I'm like have mastered yet, but pausing before I respond to my kids.
Mm.
What first wants to come out of my mouth is never really the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
I often stop myself too late, but when I do have the presence to stop and pause, man, the response that I can give my kids, the way that I can respond to them instead of the way that I react to them, is a world of difference, not only for me and my nervous system, but also how they respond to how I have responded. And so whether it's like because my kids are fighting or they won't do something that I want them to do, or like we're late for something, like when I can pause and give my brain 3 seconds to figure out like what is the thing I really want to say here. Um, yeah, I just find that I'm able to respond to them in a much different way that doesn't necessarily carry in the stress of we're going to be late for school, or I've already asked you this 10 times, or, whatever the case may be. So, yeah, those are like 3 quick and easy ways. Well, easy when you practice them, but like, right, they're not time consuming, and they don't take a lot of uh, uh, like physical effort to get done, right? But they do take noticing and being aware and practice. But they can be really powerful game changers so that you're not letting that stress affect your kids.
I love them because oh, I don't know if there's a little delay. This is all of us. Like this, everything that you're saying is personal development. It just helps us not only be a better person to other people and our families and our kids, but to ourselves. It's a lot of how we treat ourselves too, our relationship to ourselves. I love that reaction rule. I love all of them. I really do. Even the 60 emotions, I can beyond relate to that. What it feels like to actually feel like hopeless, confused. That's stuff that I'm still learning about as an anxiety coach. Like it's amazing when we say it out loud, it sounds so simple, but to be in the practice of it it's absolutely earth-shattering to be able to just name it, because then you do feel like, oh, I know what that is. It almost makes it tangible and it makes it okay.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's been talked about, it's something that other people we know have, it's something that we read about, and suddenly it's okay when it wasn't before. I love those tools so much. And even one of the biggest things with um I think when we're really hard on ourselves, it's usually our human emotions and our human reactions, our initial reactions. So that 5-second pause, the power of that pause in every single situation I can think of is incredible. And to have somebody facilitate and teach and tell you as you finish with, this might sound so simple, and yes, it's so easy to just start practicing, but it isn't going to come right away, and it really does require that repetition. And you'll see as soon as you start practicing, like, oh, this is what Coach Kristine meant. And then you start to see, yeah, the easy wins, but then you see the bigger shifts down the path. So I love, love, love all of that. I love that it's simple, it's easy. People know exactly how to get started from what you just shared.
Yeah.
It's so doable, and it can support, even if we have people who aren't moms listening in, this is so motherhood definitely is its own personal development. It's its own personal development journey.
Yeah. But they're sort of universal themes or truths to your point, right? These are not necessarily struggles that are unique to moms. Some things are, right? But like the emotions or the stress or the anxiety or the like pressure of expectations,
Mm,
like all of those things that affect that emotional energy are universal themes that I think anyone experiences.
yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, thank you so much. I'm
Thank
just gonna check.
you.
I think you covered every question that we had.
Oh, good.
Um, and I'll end with our working moms can find you in your community.
Yeah.
You want
It's
to tell
called
us? Yeah.
Boundless Energy for Working Moms. And it's a Facebook group. You can love to have you join. But yeah, it's just a place to create a community where moms can feel like safe and supported, and we can figure some of this stuff out together so that we can have the energy that we want to have to be the moms and the partners and that we want to be, but also like to take good care of ourselves, right? And to be better to ourselves.
Do you have any events? Do you have
I do
anything
not.
coming up online? I know you have
I do
regular
not.
lives in your
I have
Facebook community.
regular lives. Right now I'm trying Thursdays at 12:30. Um, I try to keep them like short and sweet because I think it's hard sometimes to do it for longer. And I'm a short and sweet kind of person. But yeah, so people can find me live on Thursdays at 12:30 in my group. And I probably will be doing my first like live event at the end of August. So